Hello and welcome to this beginner level Pilates class. Couple of things before we get started. If you have an injury, then please make sure you check with your doctor or medical professional that it is safe for you to exercise. And if any of the exercises cause you any pain or discomfort, then please stop immediately. You can join back in with the next exercise if you feel able to do so. Okay, let's start by taking the feet hip distance apart. So we want the feet to be parallel, and when we say hip distance apart, we're talking about the bony point at the front of the pelvis here, not the outside edge of the pelvis. So feet in line with this bony part at the front of the pelvis. Arms relaxed down by your side. Stand just a little bit taller, but try not to create any unnecessary tension in your body. So lengthen through the back of your neck. Relax your shoulders. Take a few deep breaths just to get centered. Pay attention to how your body feels. See if you notice if you're holding any tension in the body. Breathing deeply into your rib cage. And then we're going to start with some shoulder rolls, just bringing those shoulders up towards your ears, rolling them back and down. And again, shoulders come all the way up, roll back and down. And again. Let's do that one more time. Okay, bringing the arms down to your side and then into a side stretch. We just want to feel a lengthening into the side of the body and then lift it back up to the center. So your pelvis stays still. You feel a bit of a stretch into your waist and then you lift back up. And again, over to the side and lift, and to the other side. And lift back up. Now we're going to circle the arms. So we're reaching up, out to the side and bringing the arms down. Making those circles as large as you can. Really starting to open up the shoulders. Warming up the muscles at the top of the back. And a little bit into your chest as well. Really opening up as large as you can with those circles. And then we're going to bring the arms out in front. And you're going to pull back with one elbow. As if you're pulling the string on a bow. You're going to keep your eyes on your hand. And then come back to the center. Now your pelvis stays still here. But your shoulders and your rib cage twist very slowly to the side as you follow your hand. And then that arm comes back out in front. So we're getting a little bit of rotation into the spine now. And release. Okay, keeping your shoulders down so they're not creeping up towards your ears. A little twist without moving the pelvis. If you feel a little bit dizzy, you can keep your eyes facing forwards. And then you're still getting that little bit of rotation through the spine. We're going to do one more on each side. And then we're going to bring those arms out in front, lift them up again, take hold of one wrist, and then come over into that side stretch again. We're just increasing that stretch a little bit now. Lift back up, hold the other wrist, come over to the side and lift. Now bringing those arms down, and we're going to take the feet wider apart. So as wide as your hips are happy for you to go. We're keeping the spine long. You're just going to lean forward very slightly and then start to shift your weight from one side to the other. Now, if you have any issues with your knees or with your hips, you don't need to go very deep into these lunges. We're just aiming to warm up the hips and the knees. So you can go as wide or as narrow as you're comfortable with, keeping your heels down on the floor and just pushing that weight from side to side. Keeping your spine lengthened. And then we'll bring that back to the center. So walk those feet back in, bringing them hip width apart again. Lift one heel away from the floor. Now as you take that heel down, you're going to bring the other heel up. And then take that heel down, switch back over again. As we do these foot pedals, I'd like you to think about keeping the pelvis level. And at the same time, see if you can lift your heels a little bit higher from the floor. See if you can get a little bit of a stretch through the bottom of your feet. We're mobilizing into those toe joints. Keeping that length through your spine, so relax your shoulders here. And then we'll bring those feet down. So let's keep the feet underneath the hips, and we're going to roll down through the spine. So I'd like you to take a deep breath in. As you exhale, lengthen through the back of your neck as you allow your head to come forwards and down. And then imagine you're peeling your spine off the wall behind you. You're slowly rolling down vertebrae by vertebrae, bending your knees just a little bit. And then at the bottom, you're going to take a deep breath in and breathe out again to build the spine back up. Stack the vertebrae up one on top of the other. Lift your head up last. Now turn your palms to face forward. Lift your chest up towards the ceiling. Take your gaze up without dropping the head all the way back. And then bring your spine back into neutral, and we'll start to roll down again. So lengthen the back of the neck as you take your chin down towards your chest. Rolling slowly. Focus on creating a C shape, a curve with your spine. And then build the spine slowly back up again, one vertebrae at a time. Bringing your shoulders down, bringing your head up, turn those palms to face forwards, lift through your chest, take your gaze up, and release back into neutral. Let's do that roll again. The neck lengthens, and then we take the chin down. Start to roll through the top of the spine, the middle, then the lower back. That small bend in the knees. And then a breath in at the bottom. Slowly coming back up as you breathe out again. Bringing those shoulders down, lifting your head, palms forward as you lift your chest. And release. Okay, now we're going to roll down one more time, and this time we're going to come down onto the floor. So I'm going to stand at the end of my mat, feet underneath my hips, with that length through the spine, and then we're going to roll one more time. So we're going to bring the chin towards the chest, slowly release the spine. And when you get to the bottom of your roll, I'd like you to bend your knees and bring yourself down onto your mat. Now we're going to sit back onto the heels, reach the arms along the mat and take your head down towards the floor. Press your palms into the floor and get that nice stretch through the shoulders and going down through the back of the body. Now we'll start to walk the hands back towards you as you lift yourself up and then bringing yourself onto your hands and your knees. So we're going to place the hands directly underneath the shoulders. Spread out your fingers here. That will really help to spread the weight evenly through the hands. Position your knees right underneath your hips. And then find the length through your spine. So what we're looking here is for the spine to be as close to neutral as possible. We want to avoid dipping through the lower back. But we also want to avoid rounding the lower back. So come as close to neutral as possible. Slide the shoulder blades gently down your back so you feel that length in the back of your neck. And then we're going to stabilize and lengthen one leg out behind you. You're going to breathe out as you straighten that leg, keeping your toes in contact with the floor. Breathe in as you slide the leg back, bringing your knee back under your hip. And then do the same on the other side. Breathe out as you lengthen the leg. Breathe in as you bring the knee back under the hip. And what we're trying to do here is to keep the pelvis really stable. So you're minimizing your weight shifting from side to side. You're trying to stay as still as possible through the torso. Just working with the breath. Now keep pushing the floor gently away from you through the hands so that you don't sink into the shoulders. Keep lengthening through the back of your neck. Now if you feel steady enough, you can add a little lift to that leg extension and then bring that leg back underneath. So you would lengthen the leg, lift just a few inches off the floor, bring it back down and slide the knee back under the hip. And again, lengthen, breathe out. But if you feel a bit wobbly, then keep your foot in contact with the floor. And in time, that stability will improve and then you'll be ready to add in that leg lift. Let's do one more on each side. Breathing out, lengthen, small lift, breathe in and lower. And then we're going to come down onto your front. So we're working through the back of the body now with your swan dive exercise. If you can take the arms out to the side, you're going to tuck in your chin so you have that length through the back of the neck. Your feet are about hip width apart. And you're going to start to slide your shoulder blades gently down your back. As you do that, start to breathe out. Lift the head, top of the chest, away from the floor. And then breathe in as you slowly bring them back down. And then we're going to lift the legs. So your head and your chest stay down. We lengthen through the legs and float the front of the legs off the floor. And back down. Now, if lifting the legs was a little bit uncomfortable on your lower back, you can lift the legs one at a time. So that's your option there if you want it. Let's go back to the upper body. Lengthen as you lift. Inhale to lower, and then the legs both together or one at a time. Now just watch out for the length through the back of your neck as you bring your upper body up. Don't lift your chin to look forward, but don't drop the forehead towards the floor. Keep lengthening through the back of the neck. Exhale as you lift those legs. inhale as you lower. Just be mindful of that length through the body as you lift. So we're not thinking about lifting very high, but we are lengthening and staying stable through the pelvis. Exhale, keeping those shoulders down. You don't want to find that your shoulders end up by your ears, so just keep gently sliding them down the back as if they're going down into your back pockets. Breathing out, reaching out through the top of your head, breathing in to come down. One more lift with the legs and release. And then bringing your hands underneath your shoulders. So if you push yourself back up, we're coming back onto your hands and knees again. Hands under shoulders, knees under hips. This time we're going to round the back. So I want you to tuck your tailbone under. Relax your head. And then shift the hips a little bit from side to side. So this can feel really nice if you have a bit of stiffness in the lower back, or if we've done an exercise like the swan dive where we've done a little bit of back extension and we just want to just stretch and lengthen those muscles out again. Okay, we're going to bring the spine back into neutral. Now we're going to come into a seated position, and this is where I recommend that you sit on a cushion or on a block. Sitting on the floor and sitting up straight is really challenging, especially if you have any tightness in your lower back or in the backs of your legs. So by sitting on something that lifts you away from the floor, you're going to get that length into your spine. So you can extend the legs here. You can have your knees bent. You could bring the soles of the feet together. This is a good position if you find it gets a little bit tense right in the hip crease here. And then we're going to bring the hands together so your thumbs are resting on your collarbone, and then your fingertips are very lightly touching underneath your chin. Just be careful you don't push your chin out. So lengthen into the back of the neck. And then we're going to slowly twist. So if you take a breath in and then breathe out as you twist to the side. Breathe in as you come back to the center. Keep moving, but start to breathe out again as you twist round to the other side. And then come back to the center again. So you're exhaling as you twist away from the center, and then inhaling as you twist back. Now I want you to relax your shoulders here. So it might help to visualize those shoulder blades sliding down towards your back pockets. And then that length through the spine. So what happens when we're sitting on the floor is we can tend to slouch slightly. So I want you to just lengthen. Imagine a piece of string on the crown of your head, drawing you up towards the ceiling, lengthening your spine. And then as you twist, it's just the top half of your body. Your pelvis and your legs are still. They're not moving at all. Keep working with the breath. Exhale as you twist away from the center line. And an inhale as you come back. going to do one more twist to each side. And then we're going to come back to the center. Bringing your arms down. Now we can move your block or your cushion out of the way and lying down onto your back. Now let's take a moment to set up your neutral position here. So feet hip width apart. Remember the front part of the pelvis here, not the outside. Pelvis is in neutral. We want the natural curve through the lower back. So to help us find that neutral, do a few pelvic tilts. Tilt the pelvis back and feel your lower back go down towards the floor. And then tilt it forwards and feel your lower back lift. Do that 3 or 4 times. And then allow your pelvis to settle in the center where you have that natural curve in your lumbar spine. And then we'll get the rest of the spine set up. So if you can bring your arms down to your side, think about just opening the chest, create that length through the back of the neck. So if you need a small folded towel underneath your head, just to lift the head slightly and help you achieve that neutral alignment through the top of the spine. From here, we're going to float the right leg up into a tabletop position. So knee over hip, shin parallel to the floor. Bring your left arm up and place your fingertips on your knee. And now as you breathe out, you're going to extend the arm and the leg away from the center. So you breathe out, reach your arm back and lengthen through that leg. And then breathe in and bring them back to center. And again, breathe out, lengthen. And back. And the third one, reach out. Make sure you stay in neutral through your spine as you lengthen your arm and your leg. That's 4. Keep that pelvis really stable. And 5. And then one more on this side. Let's bring the arm down now, and we'll take the right foot down. We're going to do the same with the left leg and the right arm. So pelvis doesn't shift. We're going to bring that left leg up to tabletop, right arm. Make sure that right shoulder stays down. And then breathe out, lengthen, breathe in and come back. Breathe out, fully extend through that leg, breathe in back to center. Breathe out, that's 3. And 4. Make sure your lower back isn't lifting. Everything is really secure in that midsection. And 5. And last one, 6. And bring the arm down. Bring the left leg down. Now we're going to turn the palms to face up. Bring that right leg back up to a tabletop position. And now we're going to circle this right leg. So we're going to bring the knee in slightly, take the leg out to the side, circle around and come back to the center. And again, out to the side, circle and back. So breathe out as you take the leg away from the center line of the body, back to the center. Let's do 3 more. We're trying to keep the pelvis as stable as possible. And then we're going to take the right leg down. We're going to do exactly the same on the left side. Float that left leg up. Make sure everything is in neutral through the center, and then breathing out, circle around and back to the center. Breathe out, circle around and back, and that's 3 and 4 and 5 and 6, and lower that left leg down. Now we're going to turn over onto your side. You will need your block and your cushion again in a moment, so make sure that is within easy reach. If you can lie down onto your side and lengthen through your legs. Now I want you to check that you have your body in a long straight line. Some people feel very stable in this position. Other people, like me, feel a little bit wobbly. So we're going to bring the fingertips onto the floor in front. And I just want you to watch out if you're using your hand to help you support yourself, that you're not creating lots of tension into your neck. So have the hand just in front of your belly and keep that shoulder down. We're going to keep the feet together and we're going to lift the legs off the floor. As you lift, I want you to really think about extending those legs, but also keeping some length through the waist. So imagine you have a little space underneath your waistband and you want to try and keep that there as you bring the legs up. So we're going to breathe out and lift. Breathe in and lower. And again, lift and down. So keep lengthening. We're going to do 6. And 5 and 6. Now let's bring those legs down. Bend your knees so that your heels are in line with the back of your body, and then your block or your cushion goes underneath your head, and you can bring that bottom arm out in front now. Place the top arm palms together. Lower half of your body is going to stay really still here. And we're going to reach forward with that top hand. So slide your hand forward. Now you're going to bring that arm up. You're going to turn your head so you're following your hand. And you're taking your arm behind you. And then bringing it slowly back over. Palms together. Now reach forward again. And lift up. This time as you go further round into that twist, I want you to gently press the top knee down onto the bottom knee. That's going to help to keep the lower half of your body really secure. What we want to avoid is the feeling that your pelvis is rolling back with you. So keeping those legs down, keeping the knees together, keeping that bottom knee on the floor. And over. And we're going to do that one more time. Reach forward. Lift up. Follow your hand around. And then bring it back over. Bring those hands back together. We're going to go over onto the other side. So have your block or your cushion up that end of the mat with you, and then lying down onto this side of the body. So we're starting off with the legs straight. Make sure the hips are stacked. We're going to bring that the top hand onto the floor in front of you. Fingertips on the floor, shoulder is down. We're going to lengthen through those legs and we're going to do 6 lifts. So breathe out as you lift and breathe in as you lower. Keep lengthening through those legs. We don't need to lift very high. Make sure you're not swinging the legs forward or back as you lift them. It's going straight up and down. That's 4. And 5. One more. And release. Okay, bending your knees now. And then we'll bring that block underneath the head. And arms out in front. Palms are together. Now we're going to reach forward with that top hand. Reach. Keep your eyes on your hand as you slowly twist. Make sure the knees don't come away from the floor. And then bring that arm back over. Hands together. And again, reach. Breathe out into that twist. And float the arm back over. And again, reach forward. Float the arm up. Pressing your top knee gently down into the bottom knee. Keeping that stability through the lower half of the body. Let's do one more. Exhale into the twist. And then the arm comes slowly back over. Okay, now let's push yourself up back into a seated position. And we're going to go into a roll up. So have the legs out in front of you, and you want the knees to be slightly bent so you can place the hands on the backs of your thighs. From here, I'd like you to sit up as tall as you can. So bringing your spine as close to neutral as possible. We're going to lean back ever so slightly from the hips. So it's a small hinge at the hips. Then you're going to tilt the pelvis back, as if you're tucking your tailbone underneath you. You're going to let the chin slightly drop towards the chest, so we have that C shape through the spine. And we're going to roll back a little bit, and you'll feel those abdominals will start to work the further back we go. And we're going to slowly come back up. You can use the hands to assist. Sit up really tall on the sit bones. Lengthen through your spine, and then we'll start that again. So a small hinge from your hips. Tilt the pelvis back. Create that curve, that C shape through your spine. And then come back up. So we're going to sit up tall, lengthen as if you're being lifted up from the crown of your head. Hinge from the hips. Tilt the pelvis. Rounding through the back. So you're breathing out as you roll back. And then slowly back up. Lengthen through your spine. And again, hinge. Excuse me. Tilt the pelvis. And slowly back up. Now we're going to do a couple more. You can keep the hands on the legs if you want to, or if you feel you want to let go, we can just take the arms out in front. So hinge from the hips, tilt the pelvis, curving through the spine, and lifting back up. Lengthen through the spine, sit up tall. One more, hinge from the hips, tilt the pelvis, keeping your shoulders down and lifting back up. Now we're going to go all the way down onto the floor here. So place your hands on the backs of your thighs. Sit up tall, hinge back from your hips, tuck your pelvis under, hold onto the legs as you lower yourself all the way down onto the floor. Bringing your head down and then bend the knees a bit more. We're coming back into neutral and we're going into a shoulder bridge. So we just need to bring the heels a little bit closer to the body. Arms down by the side of your body with that length through the neck. If you do use something underneath your head to lift the head slightly, then you need to just lower that a little bit. So maybe flatten out the towel, or if you use a very small cushion, you might need to take that away completely for the shoulder bridge. We're going to tilt the pelvis, press the lower back down towards the floor, and then slowly peel your spine up. So you're lifting vertebrae by vertebrae. Pause at the top, take a breath in, and then slowly bring the spine back down to the floor. One vertebrae at a time. Bringing your pelvis back into neutral, and then we'll start again. Breathe out, tilt your pelvis, slowly peeling away from the floor. Pause at the top, take a breath in, and then bring the spine slowly back down again. All the way back to neutral. Exhale as you tilt and start to come back up. Now check that your knees stay hip distance apart throughout. It really helps if you can press the weight evenly through the feet. So make sure you're not rolling your body weight towards the outside edges of your feet here. Breathing out with the movement. So that exhale of breath is really useful in this exercise. It can help to release any tightness or tension in the muscles. As well as mobilizing your spine, you can think about really lengthening the muscles that run up and down either side of the spine. So as you roll your spine back down onto the floor again, think about getting your tailbone a little bit closer to your heels. So you're lengthening as you mobilize. Working with that breath nice and slowly. And remember, everyone's breath pattern is slightly different, so don't worry if you're going a little bit faster or a little bit slower than me. Just make sure you're not rushing through the movement. Use the whole of that exhale to lift the spine and to bring it back down. This is going to be the last one. I'm going to bring the spine back into neutral. Maybe just move those feet a little bit further away from your body now. Check you're back in neutral. We're going to float the right leg up to tabletop position. And then float the foot back down to the floor again. Keep the pelvis really still as you bring your left leg up. And take it back down. And the right leg again. So we're looking for that stability of the pelvis, making sure it's not tilting forward or back or rolling from side to side. Now, if you want to make this a little bit more challenging for yourself, we can bring the legs up one at a time and then take them back down one at a time. So One leg comes up, then the other, then the first leg goes back down, and then the second. And then we start on the other side. So I'm going to start with my right leg. Bring my right leg up, and the left, and then the right goes down, and then the left. Having 2 feet off the floor is much more challenging. That's how we progress the Pilates exercises. If you find that your back is starting to ache, or if you find that your lumbar curve is increasing and you're lifting your back away from the floor as that second leg comes up, then stick with the original move where we're doing just one leg at a time. We'll just do a couple more of those. And then we're going to relax. Now I want you to bring your feet and your knees together. Take your arms out a little bit wider on the floor, and then roll the knees over to one side. As the knees roll over, you want to keep both of your shoulders on the mat. So don't worry if your knees don't drop all the way to the floor. Make sure the shoulders stay down. You'll feel a nice stretch, a nice twist through the back. We'll bring the knees up, and then we'll roll them over to the other side. Lifting back up. Do that again, one more to each side. And then one more roll, taking the whole body over to the side this time, and sitting up. Now we're going to go into a side bend. You're going to be supporting your weight on your elbow. If you have a very thin mat, you might want to just fold the end of the mat over to come underneath your elbow, just to cushion it slightly, make it more comfortable for you. Use the back edge of your mat to line yourself up. So your elbow, your bum and your heels are all lined up with that back edge of the mat. That elbow needs to be directly underneath your shoulder. And then just check your alignment before we start. Make sure you're not dropping your body weight into that shoulder. Push the floor away from you. And then think about lifting the rib cage away from the floor. So lengthening from under your arm down to that hip. We're going to push the hips up, and your top arm is going to go over the top into a stretch. So we're going to reach up and then reach over, and then come back down. And again, reach up and over and down. That bottom hip touches the floor very gently. Do 3 more. Keep that length in your waist and keep that stability in your shoulder. Last one. And release. Okay, let's swing the legs around and do the same on the other side. Make sure the elbow is right underneath the shoulder. Line everything up with the back edge of your mat. Lift up out of that supporting shoulder and then create that length into your waist. Okay, breathe out, push the hips up. Breathe in and come down. And again, exhale, lift. Stretch over with that top arm. Inhale, back down. And we've got 3 more. So this is number 4. Touching that hip very gently onto the floor. Try not to land with a bump. 5. And 1 more. And release. Okay, now we're going to come around into a seated position. You can bring your block or your cushion back onto the mat now to sit on, just a few stretches to finish off. So let's either cross the legs or maybe just bring the soles of your feet together, whatever you find comfortable. We're going to take one hand onto the floor at the side, reach up with your other arm, and then come over into a side stretch. Let's do the same to the other side. Reach up and over. And again, hand onto the floor, reach up and over. Now this time you're going to twist slightly. So you're going to turn and reach forward a little bit more with that arm. You should feel that stretch just creep round towards your lower back. Lift back up, coming over to the other side. And then that small twist, reaching forward more with the arm. And release. Okay, roll your shoulders a few times. Just take the arms out to the side, fingertips lightly touching the floor. Let your head gently go over to one side. And the other way. And then bring those arms in front. So we're going to lace the fingers together. Press the backs of the hands forward. Drop your chin down towards your chest. Open up some space between your shoulder blades and your upper back. And then take the hands around behind you. Now your fingertips are going to go onto the floor. Just a small lean back and lifting the chest up. So now we're drawing the shoulder blades in towards the spine, taking your gaze up towards the ceiling, opening up the front of the shoulders and into your chest. And release. Relax the arms, roll your shoulders a couple of times. Thank you very much for joining me for this workout today. I hope you enjoyed it. Please check out the other classes that I have available, and I have lots of shorter workouts on my YouTube channel, so check those out too. And I will see you again very soon. Bye bye.